We are Geekcentric, and you can be too. Love ya. Laters. Bye. Get home safe, guys. Peace.
Welcome to the Geekcentric podcast, and welcome to our special Behind the Geeks episode for Disney and Pixar's Hoppers. My name is Justin, and if you're joining us for the first time, well, we are Geekcentric, a podcast covering the world of movies, TV shows, gaming, and all things Geekcentric. And today, we're diving into one of our favorite animated films of the year, Disney and Pixar's Hoppers. Absolutely fell in love with this movie. It has all the heart, humor, and emotional storytelling we've come to expect from Pixar, while introducing an incredibly fun and original world that feels unlike anything the studio has done before. To celebrate the film's release on Disney Plus, I had the chance to sit down with some of the talented people who brought Hoppers to life. First, you'll hear from director Daniel Chong and producer Nicole Paradis Grindle, where we talk about building an original Pixar world, the themes of belonging and good intentions, and the collaborative journey of bringing Hoppers to the screen. Then, we'll be joined by the voices behind Mabel and King George, Piper Curda, and Bobby Moynihan to discuss finding these characters, the emotional heart of the film, and some of the moments they're most excited for audiences to rediscover now that Hoppers is streaming at home. A huge thanks to our friends at Disney Studios Canada for setting us up with these interviews. They're a bit longer, which we are extremely grateful for. We always have the great opportunity to talk to some fantastic people on this podcast, and sometimes they're like 5 minutes or 8 minutes, maybe even 10 minutes. These are actually a little bit longer, which lend themselves to more conversations. So I am extremely grateful for the opportunity. And again, a huge thanks to our friends at Disney Studios Canada for setting this up. Disney and Pixar's Hoppers is available now for streaming on Disney Plus. We do talk a little bit of spoilers in this interview, so if you haven't seen the movie, definitely stop now, go watch the movie, and then come join us, because this episode will be here for you to enjoy. Now, we also have these interviews on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/geekcentric. You can actually get more of a visual aid to some of the conversation that we have, just to see how Piper and Bobby and myself are just kind of yapping and laughing. It's a really great time. I am so excited for these interviews and for you to enjoy them. Before we get to that, as always, you can follow us on our socials. You can find us on Twitter or X at GeekcentricYT, or on Instagram and TikTok at We Are Geekcentric. We are amidst the hot geeky summer. Lots of great fun stuff coming up. So be sure to subscribe to us wherever you listen to podcasts. And hey, if you're enjoying what we're doing, feel free to leave us a 5-star review, because that really does help with us getting Geekcentric out to more people, and more people finding us. So we would really appreciate it. Okay, without further ado, here are our interviews. First up is my interview with director Daniel Chong and producer Nicole Paradis Grindle. Enjoy. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you, Justin?
I'm doing great. I am so grateful for the opportunity to chat with you guys. Everyone here at Geekcentric absolutely loved Hoppers. It has all the heart, emotion, and just the sincerity that we've come to expect from Pixar, while still feeling entirely fresh. So I'm very excited to chat about this film with you. My first question's for you, Daniel. I'm a huge We Bare Bears fan. Me and my wife are huge fans. We now get to share that with our daughter, who's also like very much identifies with each of the bears in a lot of ways. At any given moment, she can be Ice Bear or Pan Pan. It just ranges. Right. But when I look at We Bare Bears and now looking at Hoppers, both stories seem to be about characters trying to understand a world they don't necessarily fit in, or maybe they think they don't belong in. Is that something you're consciously drawn to as a storyteller?
Yeah, I think so. I very much identify with outsider characters. I think they appeal to me. I understand their place in life, and I like this idea also of us trying to understand each other better, and also to understand how can we be kinder and more understanding of each other. I think these are themes that are pervasive through both things I've made. So yeah, I think that's a running theme, and I think those are things that resonate with me, that represent my values, and I think it's in both those things. Yeah.
I just want to reiterate that this is who Daniel is, to be
Yes,
honest.
right.
He tries to be
Uh,
super cool, but inside is a sweet little furry, loving character.
As a beaver,
he
as a
has an animal.
beaver inside.
Yeah, I've always identified with Pan myself. My parents got me a panda, and everything was built around pandas when I was in my infancy, right? And so I've always identified with pandas. And then Pan comes along, and he's neurotic and he's allergic to peanuts, which I'm allergic to peanuts as well.
Same, man.
And so yeah, same with my dog. So I feel like I just he's my spirit animal, and I love that, and I love that we can kind of find ways to, as you said, speak about the values that we want to see in today's world through these stories. And that, I think, is one of the biggest wins from this movie, is that it just speaks so much to what these times should be like, with understanding, listening, and communicating with one another. And I think it's something that I admire very much.
Thank you. And I mean, just to bounce off that, I mean, Panda was always the closest to my personality. I mean, in the same way of your daughter, all three
Yeah.
bears represent me also in different times of the day or different times in my life. But Panda always was closest to me. And it is very fitting because King George is also closest to me in the movie. And
Right.
Bobby Moynihan plays both characters. So I think it kind of shows that I think I'm using him as my, no pun
As your
intended,
vessel, as
avatar, my
Your
yeah,
avatar.
avatar.
yes, as the
Yeah.
avatar. Actually, Nicole, my next question is for you. You've been at Pixar for quite some time. You've worked with various filmmakers over your time with the studio. What was it about Daniel's pitch for Hoppers that made you believe this was the story Pixar needed to tell?
Oh my gosh. I mean, it was such an amazing concept, the idea of being able to jump into the animal world as an
Yeah.
animal and talk to them. I mean, it's wish fulfillment. Anybody who has a pet, feels like they
Hmm.
pretty much know what the animal is saying to them, but they're not sure. And to be able to do that in the animal world, the natural world was, a spectacular idea. Daniel originally pitched it as penguins, and Pete Docter, our chief creative officer, said, the world has enough penguin movies, try something else. And when Daniel discovered beavers, I think we all saw, the more we learned about beavers, what a great metaphor they are for repairing the environment and
Mm.
living as somebody who creates an environment that's beneficial to all around them. And so as an environmental story and a story about how to make change without, being overly, zealous and alienating to people, it ended up just being a great, model for the story. So I was all in pretty early.
Yeah, yeah. That it sounds like it had the makings of exactly what you described. Just this idea of wanting to repair, and the idea that you use beavers as a Canadian. I'm very happy that this
Yeah.
so I appreciate that. I know there's just you've talked to other Canadians who've also shared the same sentiment. So definitely
Yeah.
appreciate, beavers are getting some love. Next is Canadian geese. We'll see, but they're a little more vicious, in my opinion. I have a question here, just because there was something that really stood out to me about Mabel's journey. I really connected with how she genuinely wants to help, but her actions don't always lead to the outcome she expects. It's having good intentions with unexpected outcomes in a lot of ways. Have either of you experienced moments in your creative careers where maybe the best intentions led to unexpected consequences? And was there anything either of you learned from that?
Wow. I don't know that there's this particular example because that's kind of my work life every single day.
Exactly, right? Yeah.
It's a little bit like professional surfing. You're just meeting the moment every single day. And when you're working with people and particularly creative people, you just don't know where things are going
Mhm.
to go. And that's kind of the excitement and beauty of creative work is you just see where it leads. Um, is it a negative thing? I don't think so. I think,
Yeah.
that, there are always unexpected consequences. Sometimes we go down roads, they're dead ends, and that can be frustrating and expensive. And I think my job is to try to, as much as possible, and anticipate that. If it seems like, uh-oh, like we're going to spend a lot of energy doing this thing. I know that Daniel and I often would have conversations about, whether, when he got a note, whether or not he should pursue that if he didn't really feel it. So there's a lot of that kind of like, use your instinct, as a director. And as a relatively new director, a new director at Pixar, but not a new director in the world, how do you navigate that in an environment where everybody's got, all this experience and, there's all, the legend of Pixar directors, when they have
Yes.
ideas about things, you feel like, okay, I guess I should listen to them. But Daniel also has a new voice. Daniel had a new sensibility. And so it was balancing, taking advice from directors who have extraordinary experience and a, great track record, but also trusting his own voice and recognizing I have a different way of saying things, a different way of expressing and humor. I mean,
Hmm.
Daniel's humor is something that's really distinct, and
Yeah.
we never wanted him to do anything that would prevent him from expressing that.
The humor is definitely something I admired. It felt refreshingly different. How about for yourself, Daniel? Has there been anything, and again, not to skew negatively, but just maybe informatively, right? Like something that you've learned from that process of maybe pushing something and then saying, well, maybe that wasn't the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, when I think about King George as a character, I do think that he resembles sort of my evolution as a leader. I remember when I first became a leader on We Bare Bears, there was nothing that trained me, and nor was there anybody that trained me how to be a leader and how to deal with people, which is one of the most complex parts about being a leader is dealing with amazing with people that all have different personalities and different like kind of temperatures, and you're just trying to figure out how do you get all these people on the same page. And I think early on in my career, I was doing too much. I was trying to make everyone happy. I was trying to, and I had good intentions, I wanted everyone to like get along, and I wanted to like get involved with everyone's business to make sure everyone's happy. But I realized that that's actually not leadership. That's bad. It's too bad because there's no way, it's not possible. And also it's just too much. And so learning to balance all of that, I think is kind of what King George is he's a person who figured out that balance and knows how to kind of manage different personalities, at least some of them. So yeah, I think that was the biggest learning curve that I had, and I think I learned a lot from it.
I will say though that George is a little bit like too placating. Like he needs Mabel actually to make change. And so I
Hmm.
think she ends up being the antidote to what you were saying you felt like you were doing too much of.
Hmm. Yeah, and I love that because I think there is a balance in leadership. You mean well, you want to help everyone, you want everyone's voice to be heard, and you want to get to know everyone and have this sort of overview of the team. But it must be something where it's like you need to know sometimes that professional distance and also challenge people and give them opportunities to kind of find their path without necessarily pushing them down that path, right? And I kind of can
Yeah,
expect what you're saying.
that's
Yeah.
exactly right. A lot of it's how do you empower people? How do you kind of train them to learn
Yeah.
as opposed to you doing everything for them? Yeah, it's a big part of leadership.
And how do
Yeah.
you do something new?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is the biggest thing. Talking about the process of bringing this film to life, as it came together and you watched this fantastic cast bring these characters to life. Was there a performance or any creative contribution that genuinely surprised you and made the character or the movie that much better than you could imagine?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to speak about all of them, honestly. They're
Right.
all incredible, but I think the one that could have gone off the rails if it wasn't done right was probably Dave Franco's performance. I think we asked a lot of him, and for him, it was like every line I was like, take a swing, take a swing. There
Yeah.
was no subtlety asked. It was just
Right.
like be as crazy and broad and extreme and unhinged and go off the road constantly, and I don't think I asked any other actor to do that. And it's risky because you're like, I don't know if any of this is gonna work. And the other part of it too is exhausting for him. He was
For
like,
sure.
he was just sweating after every session, after every line. And Nicole had to bring him towels to like so he could wipe himself off. It was crazy. But Dave, I think that's why it probably surprised us the most how it came together, and that somehow that kind of became like a very convincing performance and a scary one too, even though it's so
Yeah.
crazy. And I think I have to just acknowledge that that was such a swing that he took, and I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah, I just on that note, Dave Franco was insanely great, and I feel like he was being like Dave Franco up to like a 10. Like some of his character personas, like I loved him in the studio, so like you know, and he was very much himself, but like he's dialing it up, and I love that the animation kind of captured that energy that you said that he gave when he was performing. Like it looked like Jerry was like sweating and like freaking out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was really great. Nicole, for yourself.
Well, Franco came to mind for me, first of all, but I mean, and I agree, everyone brought a lot, but Meryl Streep, not
Yep.
surprisingly, was amazing.
Hmm.
And I think Daniel had an idea of what he wanted the Queen to sound like, and Meryl Streep came in and brought a different take. And it was interesting because Daniel had to navigate that initially, having, this is what directors do. They have a vision of what it will be. And ultimately, I think she pulled back a little bit from what she came in with, but she did surprise us. I mean, she brought in a take that was different and ended up being what we went with for the most part. And so, not surprisingly, Meryl Streep,
Yeah.
surprised us and elevated, I think, the whole film with her
Yeah.
performance.
She's pretty
Absolutely.
good.
Yeah, she's pretty good. So I've
Pretty
heard. So I've heard. So
She
it's
has
like,
a future. She has a
yes, she does. She does.
With Bobby, Piper, and John, I think all of it is just like they're hitting these big extremes, but then these characters also have to hit like a very grounded place also.
Exactly.
And I think
Yes.
that is the magic for them, is that we needed them to kind of go to these extremes the way that we're talking about Dave and Meryl, but then also be a believable character. So I think
Yeah.
that is why the three of them are like incredible.
Yeah.
We also have
Absolutely.
Vanessa Bayer. I mean,
Yeah.
Diane, come on.
Yeah. Yeah, she was great. She was great.
Keep going.
Diane is iconic. As we get to the end here, I did want to ask you, these movies, they take a lot of time to make, right? And you guys have obviously spent a lot of time together making this movie. I saw a lot of the early press stuff before theatrical release that you guys were doing a lot of interviews together. And just looking back on this process and, working together, what's something you've learned from each other that has made you better at what you do? Nicole, we'll start with you.
I think learning to trust Daniel when he was doing things that were different and and than what I had experienced in the past. And it was something that he and I agreed we were going to support on the show. And yet, as somebody who's been at the studio a long time, it was something I had to consciously embrace.
Mhm.
The way he wanted to work or the kind of creative ideas he was putting out there. I mean, ultimately, it was immensely satisfying. But, it was something that I had to be aware of. Like, don't stick to the old ways of doing things.
Right. Open up.
Maybe my gut was wrong a lot of the time, and I had to say, gut, you were wrong.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. Daniel, for yourself.
To me, Nicole was always the voice of calm and the voice of kind of like experience that I could rely on. And I think that will always be the thing that I will take away from our time working on this movie with her, was that um, it takes a lot of patience also to make this movie. I mean, it takes a lot of adrenaline and like
Yeah.
nonstop work, but
Mhm.
I think it's kind of the blessing of working at a place like Pixar that's been making movies for so long, is that there is this institutional wisdom, for lack of a better word, and I think Nicole has that because she's been here, since early on and has seen so many things. And I think because of that, it enables her to have this kind of patience and sort of um, ability to kind of see the bigger picture and zoom out. Because I think when I'm in it, especially, I'm so focused and stressed about one specific thing. You have to remember, like, we got like 3 more years to go. Like, this is like,
Right.
we got to be patient here. So it's kind of just seeing the bigger picture, being patient. I think those are things I'll remember.
Yeah, yeah. Take your time, and not necessarily sweat everything.
Yeah.
I think that collaboration, to have that voice of reason, that makes a lot of sense when you're dealing with a production this big. And yeah, well, that's my time, guys. I am so grateful for the opportunity to chat with you both about this movie. And just thank you for joining us on the Geekcentric podcast. And more importantly, thank you for making this film. As a parent, getting to share movies with my daughter is one of my favorite things in the world. I've shared a lot of Pixar movies, and we've already rewatched this numerous times since it's been out on streaming. And she loves it. She's scared of Robot Jerry, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I get to laugh really, really hard. But she'll get used to it because she's getting comfortable with it because of the theatricality. But again, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Justin. Appreciate you.
All right.
Yes,
have a good
thank
one,
you,
guys.
Justin.
Next is my interview with Mabel and King George, Piper Curda, and Bobby Moynihan. This is a fun one. Hope you enjoy it. And Justin Lawrence from Geekcentric.
You're making some night moves, Justin. Late night with Justin. I like it.
It's very podcast ready, if you will, an interview. I see we have headphones as well for optimal sound.
I'm going to describe myself as podcast ready from now on.
I think that's a good choice. How you guys doing?
Good, doing well.
Good. I mean, we love doing this. We love this movie. Like Bobby and I think we're just like, we are back in the swing of it. We're like,
I know.
More?
Well, I'm so grateful for you to join us on the Geekcentric podcast. All of us here, we loved Hoppers. It's funny, it's heartfelt, it has all that charm. But what really stayed with all of us is the relationship between Mabel and King George, and just that journey they go on together. So I'm very excited for the opportunity to just kind of get into it with you. But it is now streaming on Disney Plus. I got to mention that. So spoilers are fair game. I wanted to ask you guys, what's something about your character, or maybe another character, or maybe even just a moment from the movie that you were dying to talk about but couldn't during the initial press run, if you will. We'll start with you, Piper.
Oh, I mean, feel free to tell me if I can't say it like this, but I kill Meryl Streep. Like, that's crazy, right? And that was like the number one thing that was like, do not talk about this. Like, this is a big moment and a big reveal. And it's like every time you're in the theater and that moment happens, it is just delicious. You know?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It was shocking. It was shocking.
Yeah.
The wipe on the wall gets me.
Yes.
It's almost worse. It's
like
so
second wave. Yeah.
So genius.
I couldn't agree more.
That was it for me. I don't know if Bobby had a different moment, but
the spider putting the arrow and the husband coming in and saying and the wife going, it's an arrow, Ted, is the funniest joke and it's the best joke in the whole movie. I think it's better than the squish. It's the best moment.
Yeah, the squish definitely. I remember when we saw it in theaters, everyone just gasped. Like, oh my gosh, like it happened, right?
My daughter, I had a side view, so I saw this, and then I saw so she couldn't believe it. But it was the coolest. It's like
my daughter always says to me now, she's 3. She's like, I'm gonna squish you, right? So
my 3-year-old won't watch it yet. She's like, too much.
Oh no, Robot Jerry freaks her out. Like, as soon as Robot Jerry shows up, she's like, "Can we skip this?" I'm like, "No, we got to watch this."
The 8-year-old, that's all she wants to see.
Yeah,
the 8-year-old likes the horror of it. Yeah,
I was going to the theater to see our movie and with my friend, and I was in line like getting popcorn or something, and there was this like very sweet older woman in line with us who had Hopper's merch in her hands, and we were like, "Are you going to see Hoppers?" And she was like, "Yeah, I'm taking my grandsons." She was like, I think she said there's something like they're 3 and 6. This is their first movie ever. We're going to see the 4DX version.
Oh my God.
And I was like, that 3-year-old will never see another movie again. Like, this is going to scar Ivor's life.
King George having a nice talk with Mabel as the kids get sprayed in the face.
Especially the squish. Could you imagine the squish in 4DX?
Oh my gosh.
Thankfully my 3-year-old, it didn't ruin her movie going experience. She was definitely weirded out by the Robot Jerry, but I'm like, this is pure comedy gold. Dave Franco. Okay.
Yeah.
Piper, the one thing I appreciate about Mabel is that she always wants to do the right thing, but she learns that helping isn't always as simple as she thinks it is. Was there something about that journey that personally resonated with you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the sort of theme throughout the film of her feeling like she's the only person that cares about these particular things is absolutely a feeling I've had before. I think I've had
Mhm.
the same exact breakdown that she has in the film of just
Mhm.
why doesn't anyone care? Like, why do I have to do this alone? Like that hit so hard for me
Mhm.
and was honestly the reason I was able, I feel like, to perform it the way that I did was because
Yeah.
like I have felt that. I have been there. And so yeah, and I do think in a weird sort of way it was like kind of therapy for me because I'm someone I am my biggest judge, my worst critic, and like just like will never let myself rest for
Mhm.
things. And so if I care too much about something that someone doesn't, like, I'll be really hard on myself. But when you see Mabel do it, you're like, no, like keep going, like you're good.
Yes.
I love
Yeah.
you, and it's like
Yeah.
wait, she's me. Like you have to you know what I mean? Like you have to reframe those things and I don't know,
Mhm.
just watching her go through that journey gave me a lot more empathy for myself, which is
Absolutely. And I think it translated really well because I think for myself, it's just like it comes from a real place, which is why I wanted to ask that question because it felt so authentic and all the performance felt like they were drawn from very real places. And for yourself, Bobby, you've been doing voice acting for so long. I've loved all the different characters you've been able to play. Pan is literally one of my favorite
Oh,
characters. He's my spirit animal. I was sharing that with Daniel in my previous interview. When you first got King George, what was the thing that unlocked the character for you and helped you figure out who he was?
I met Daniel Chong and I had kids. Daniel Chong is King George, and he helped me realize that I may be a little bit like King George as well. And
Mhm.
it took a while we had been recording this movie for a while, and I was a
Mhm.
father of one when we started. Maybe even before. No, no. I was a father of one when we started, and then now I'm a father of two, and
Right.
it's 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 apparent to me. I don't think I could have done it before that. I don't think I understood a lot of the
Mhm.
stuff that I was saying to
Mhm.
or how important it was to say these things. And I think Daniel showed me that. I definitely realize now that like I definitely made Daniel my father a little bit during the past couple of years. And
He's,
yeah,
he's
because he's great at it. He's
yeah.
really good at guiding people through life.
Mhm.
and then after the press tour, he was a father of three.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is the
Wow.
Yes, yes, yes. It's true.
Oh, I see. I get it now. I'm like, okay.
I had a good press tour. No, no,
But no,
Well, you've
I
you've
mean,
adopted. You've been adopted by the family. I
no.
see.
it was
Yeah.
funny
I was
because
faithful on the press tour, but
oh
I
yeah,
met
but
I met Piper, and she is
we
Yeah.
now
didn't
my
meet at
daughter, whether she
all
likes it
through
or
the
not.
process. So like we
Yeah.
didn't build this relationship during the movie at all, but like truly by the end of the tour and everything else, it was like, no, we are Mabel and George, like
Yes.
that is the roles that we have taken on in life and just in general.
In between every one of these interviews, me and Piper become 5 years old and start talking, and we start showing each other. It's we are Mabel and George.
That's that. I love that. I think that's where you get the best performances is when you can identify with that character. Again, I'm not being an actor, but I think as someone who enjoys watching these things, it connects with me when I feel like that feels authentic. That
Uh,
feels real.
I can't imagine. I think
Hmm.
about this a great deal. I
Hmm.
can't imagine that if for some reason in the universe we are put back together to work on Mabel and George, where we do the voices of Mabel and George in
Hmm.
any capacity, I cannot do it without her in
Yeah,
the room.
absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
that's all I keep thinking about now. It's like, oh, I hope we get a chance to do that again because that would be great.
Yeah.
Did you guys record together or was it
No,
was
we
it
didn't meet till
no?
the movie
Okay.
came out. We didn't
Okay.
meet till till
Wow.
press.
Yeah, we met
Wow.
literally 6 months before the movie came out was the
Yeah,
first time that we met. Yeah.
Wow, that's
crazy.
crazy. That's crazy. That's wild because the performance feels, and I guess it's just the way it's edited and it's all stitched together, but it did feel like you guys were definitely working off of one another,
Yeah.
like in the booth together. But yeah, second time around, if there is an opportunity, you're definitely gonna have to do that
I
together.
Oh yeah, it'll be
definitely.
in our contracts. Will not record without
Yeah.
Bobby.
They played a lot of Piper stuff for me. Like, we
Yeah.
got to hear
Yeah,
each other, like we
sure.
got to play off of each other, but we never met until
Mm.
Yeah.
That's
crazy.
awesome. The blossoming of a beautiful friendship. It's like you guys already
Yeah,
knew each other, right? So,
it
um,
is.
the other thing that I really love about this movie is how Mabel has such a strong emotional tie to the Glade. and just what it means to her and how she associates it with her grandmother and just the memory of so many great things and what it means to her personally. So I want to ask you guys, do you guys have a happy place somewhere that you always associate with fond memories of people or family or loved ones?
Oh gosh. Okay, this is I guess a kind of this is only popping up in my head because I was just there recently. But I live in Chicago and I grew up in Chicago, and a place that I have gone my whole life, like when I was a kid, when I was in high school, I took my friends here in college. I just went a few weeks ago, but there, Northwestern, the campus is right on the water. And there are there's this part of the shorefront where there's all these painted rocks. And it's usually painted by like classes that are graduating
Mhm.
and like little student groups or whatever, but there's just like all kinds of stuff, and it's just this beautiful walk along the lakeshore. And I don't know, I think it's just like one of those places. I've moved around so much. I've lived in a million different places. I've done a million different things, but that has been a spot that has been very consistent and constant in my life, and
Mhm.
has always been good memories, and has always been memories with like friends,
Yeah,
and just sort of this aura of serenity there. So I
I love
love it. And
that.
also it's right by the best buffalo wings you'll ever have in your whole entire life, Buffalo Joe's.
Awesome. So there is a place for eating and enjoying as well on top of all that. That's great. Gotta
That's
have it.
weird.
Gotta
I was
have
also gonna say Buffalo Joe's.
Crazy. I would have asked you.
it. How about for you, Bobby?
Um,
Anything?
when you first said it, it's like now it's just my family. Anywhere like now it's very different. Now it's like I just want to be around my wife and my kids, and that's it. And I want to be left alone and just have nice times until it's done.
Yeah,
But like,
I feel you,
but
bud.
yeah, but I hate to say it. I hate to say it, but for me, it's 30 Rock. It's that building. It's that I hate
Wow.
it. I hate saying it, but it's true. It's uh it was a building. It was a place I looked at as a kid and went like, "Oh my gosh." And I've always loved it. And then I spent 10 years there
Yeah.
in various forms of mental states,
Yep.
and because I'm very, very, very lucky, I get to go back there a lot in the sense of
Hmm.
like there's a lot of things going on in that building. So it always ends up I always end up back at 30 Rock somehow,
Right.
and that's not a bad thing. And it's
Yeah.
but it's a heavy thing. And I look at that building sometimes and I just go like
Yeah.
crazy, crazy
Yeah. It's
place.
crazy. Yeah, crazy place. What it's built for
Yeah.
you, what you've built there, along with so
I
many.
met the Muppets there. Like
Yeah.
it's like crazy. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And I totally relate to the idea of family being this place. Now that I have a kid of my own who's 3, it's just, anytime I get to do stuff, it's just about getting back to her and getting back to them and being there. So I totally relate. That is the happy place. Guys,
Yeah.
that's my time. I am so grateful for the opportunity
Thank
to chat with
you.
you. Your
Thank you.
energy on screen together it is just as energetic as it is in person here, even though we're not in person, but I love it. So congratulations on this film. The performances you both bring to Mabel and King George are such a big part of what makes this movie work and what makes it so special. And I can't wait for more families to discover it now that it's available at home on Disney Plus. So thank you again. It really means a lot to have the opportunity to chat with you both.
Thank you for saying
Thank
that.
you,
You're the best,
Justin. Thank
man.
you for a
Thank
great
you.
All right, buddy.
interview.
Have a good one, guys. Peace.